What does the 2024 route look like?
The 18th edition of Strade Bianche takes us from Siena to Siena in one massive loop. Unlike last year, where there were 11 gravel sectors, there are now 15 gravel sectors, which amounts to just over 70 kilometers worth of gravel racing, which is a lot. That's like a third of the race. We still include the classic sectors of the Monte San Marie and also the La Tolf, which is where Van der Poel very classically kind of really stepped on the gas a few years ago and kind of broke away past the big percent gradients. And yeah, it's going to make it really interesting having those additional 4 sectors. They all come within kind of Monte San Marie and kind of what was originally kind of Sector 9, but is now Sector 13. There are a couple of climbs in there. They're all not particularly too long, the longest one being 2.4 kilometers. Obviously, the 2 hardest sectors are Sectors 7 and Sector 8, the San Martino Engrania and the Monte San Marie. These are 9.5 kilometers long and 11.5 kilometers long, include gradients of 12 and 18%. And then, of course, the whole race ends up the Piazza del Campo into Siena, the classic 16% gradients up to the line. Of course, we didn't see a big battle between 2 people last year. It was just Pidcock going to the line, but it's a really hard race, Scott. 215 kilometers is nothing to be sniffed at. I'm not saying it's a monument. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's harder than it has been in previous years. Those additional 4 sectors amounts to another, 6-ish kilometers of gravel. What do you think of this new route? Do you think it's better than last year's route, or do you think that the race organisers have gone too far? I don't know what.
More gravel. We need more gravel. I mean, the Grand Tours didn't learn from this. It's like the extra piece of gravel that we were missing in the Giro has been added to the Strade Bianche instead of that stage. But yeah, no, I'm so excited for this race. I can't quite decide whether Paris-Roubaix or this is my favorite race. I think they're both equally number 1. Sorry, Tour of Flanders. You're 3rd place. It's fine. Well, but yeah, I think it's great to see it get closer to that monument status in length at least. And really solidifying itself as like the gravel race, even though that the Grand Tours are dabbling with it. This is the place, which I quite like. What do you think of the new edition? Do you think it's too much or too little?
I think it could be just right, dare I say. It might be the Goldilocks zone. The additional 4 sectors, 1 or 2 of them do have like some uphill sections, but we'll wait and see whether somebody actually uses those to attack, or whether people are going to be whether they're just going to keep the powder dry and attack later on, where we've seen Van der Poel attack. I think Pidcock's attack last year was quite unexpected. It was quite a long attack. We've never really seen anything like that in Strade. So I think the new route is good, but I do fear that the additional length is just going to, really favour the riders who already do well over really long races, and we're just going to see repeating names doing well in the race. But I'm also very optimistic that 215 kilometres is a good length. I think if it gets any longer towards 240k, I reckon it's just going to be like Flanders and stuff. You're just going to see those names doing well all the time. But yeah, I reckon it'll be okay. I am really looking forward to it. This is like the kind of like fantastic race to kick off the season. We're in March, and it feels like, this is like definitely this turning into spring, and it is a brilliant race. I really do love it. Despite the fact that I don't want it to be a monument, I still think it's great.
I think you're so right. Yeah, it's a good point that you said. If it's too hard, then we will just see the same names to some extent. And sometimes when it's too hard as well, they kind of neutralize parts of the race. So fair summation. But we might as well go into favourites. And